Mr. Fortenberry.
Gentlemen, good morning. Mr. Secretary, nice to see you. You have an extensive background in healthcare management, running facilities, being an entrepreneur. If someone told you this was going to take you 10 years before an implementation of an interoperable system in one of your hospitals, you'd find that absolutely unacceptable. Now, this is a big, massive project that a lot of the difficulties, or put more succinctly, mess you've inherited. I get that, but this has been going on for a very long time. So let me just try to simplify this so that I can understand, and perhaps we can unpack a lot of this technical language. But I have about 4 things I want to get to, including Nebraska's, some issues of late in Nebraska. You have a system now where you're on one screen, you can show DOD records and your records, right? That's interoperability at the moment. This is going to be combined so that one button pulls up everything from a former service member's life, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why 10 years? I very much appreciate what you're saying, that we're getting out of the software business, because why would we build out the expertise in that area when that it's not our expertise? You want to deliver care. I get that. Why 10 years? What do you expect the outcome to be? Are there progress measures along the way that, so that in another year you're not, the system's not going to say we've got another significant delay and it's 2 more years? Let me throw everything out on the table first, absolutely. And then I'd like you to get to it. We have some information that the VA has always worked with the Indian Health Service to help them with their electronic medical records, but there is some indication that you may desire to move away from that. I'd like your comment on that, because that's some slippage that may cause significant difficulty for another part of government that we would not like to see. Sure. Finally, there's a glitch in the outpatient clinic contract in Lincoln. Give me your assessment of that situation and explain the criteria for site selection, because I think there's some murkiness there that has caused some possible confusion. Then I have hopefully an answer to all of your problems if we have enough time.
Okay, I'd like to hear the answer. Sure you don't want to start with the answer? Look, I think the implementation is frankly 18 months. From the time we sign the contract till we get our first site up is 18 months, which is consistent with a private sector practice in terms of from contract to full implementation. We will begin to, after that first implementation, start shutting down what will be 130 successive implementations after that. So by the time we reach all of our facilities across the country, which are around 1,600, but 130 different systems control those 1,600, it will be around 8 years after the first 18-month implementation.
So after 18 months, what % of systems will have successful interoperability?
Well, we'll start with one.
But what % of veterans does that represent?
Well, that would be a very small % of veterans. But what we have is a detailed project implementation timeline, which we'd be glad to share you how we get from one system in 18 months all the way through.
That's not really necessary. You understand the nature of the question. Obviously, you're going to try something to make sure it works, but the larger number of veterans that's going to actually be served as a priority would seem to me to be a prudent way forward.
Yeah. The longer we take to implement this,
yes, sir.
The longer we take to implement this, the more costly it is and the greater we think that the risk is to veterans. So we are trying to do this as aggressively as we possibly can.
My time's running short. I'm sorry. Can you, in 30 seconds, address the Indian Health Service question?
The Indian Health Service does use our VISTA system. That will remain available. This is an open source system. We won't withdraw that from them. They may have to look at alternative systems just as we are, and we'd be glad to work with them on that. We have no desire to hold that to.
We don't want to put them in a situation where they're having to go out on their own and redesign an entire system. So anything they can leverage from your experience would be most helpful.
Can I touch on that, sir?
Yes.
So we've been in communication with Indian Health Services, and we are firmly committed to supporting.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt. Time's ticking down.
And Lincoln, Nebraska, we will get back to you on that. But that was a small business issue in terms of the award where we've had to go now back out for contract. We're committed to that contract. It is off schedule because of the small business issue, but we can get back to
As
you with
we've
the
discussed
details.
before, a lot of very creative public, private.
Yes.
We
Right.
just need for this to move and move
Yes.
quickly because there's a lot on hold.
I will follow up with you
Thank you
on
so
that,
much.
yes.